Before we get started today, check in the video description below for the links for the best prices on the parts and tools I use today. So today, we're working on a 2013 Nissan Pathfinder, and we're going to be swapping out the front wheel hub assembly, or your wheel bearing. Let's check it out. So after you take your wheel off with the 21mm lug nuts, we're going to come on over, and first we got to get our cotter pin out. And what you'll see here is you're going to take a set of dikes or side cutters, you're going to grab onto that cotter pin and pull, and it'll start out with, it'll be all the way through and it'll be sticking out this way, sticking out that way. So you'll just take your side cutters and you'll bend it straight like it is straight now, and then you'll just grab and pry and grab and pry, and there we go, we got our cotter pin out. Then we're going to slide this little piece off right here, and then we've got to remove this axle nut. Okay, so this is a 32mm lug nut now. In most cases, you're going to have to use a breaker bar and another bar on the end of that breaker bar to take this guy off. Or you can use this super nifty Milwaukee impact driver here. This thing takes off everything. I think the braking power is like 1,100 foot-pounds, which take off most crankshaft bolt pulleys, the pulley bolts, and axle nuts like this with just ease. It slices through like butter. And I'll have the best price on this thing listed in the video description below. And so anyways, we're gonna take this guy off. Boom. We're going to take that guy off, and then we're going to work on getting our brake stuff off, like our rotor, our caliper. Okay, and to get our brake caliper off here, it's a 17 right here and a 17 right there, and then I'll be using my Milwaukee ratchet, which is amazing, and again, you can find the best price on that in the video description below. And so we're just going to get on there. And so take that guy out, take that guy out, and then we'll grab on and just kind of pull that caliper towards us, set them up here off to the side, and then we can take this whole caliper off as a piece and leave the pads on, and when we put it back on, we'll just kind of slide the pads back over. And we have probably like a 19 or 21. Gotta take this off and this off, and then we'll slide this off, and that rotor will just slide off. Okay guys, so this was actually a 22. We got one here. Again, you might want to turn your wheel so you can get a breaker bar like that, and then you can get an angle on it with your 22 like this right here, so it'll clear that fender. But again, if you got this super awesome Milwaukee, just go ahead and stick her on there, and it just bumps her right off. So there you go. And then let's see, let me get this upper one off too. Boom. So there's that. Then we take our rotor off. Boom. And you can see our pads are still sitting in there like so. And now we're just about there. I think we just got to remove this wheel speed sensor, which is sitting right there. It's like a 10. And then we can remove our wheel hub assembly. It's got the bearing in there. And this one is just, it's hard to see right here, but we'll take a look at it when it's off. But it was just, with the wheel, it's just rocking. So okay guys, and here we are. I think this is a 10. And there's that. It's cool, like that electric ratchet, I didn't even have to break it loose. It just takes stuff like that off, no problem. So here we got our nice little wheel speed sensor, that's off. And then we're gonna start taking off our wheel hub bolts. And there's one there, one here, and one just beyond where my finger is there. And they're 17s. Now you can see I've got an extension and a 17 in there. Let's see if I can turn around and look at one. Yeah, see, you can see that one, you can see the other one on the other side, and you can see my ratchet and extension on it. So I just take a big bar, take my little ratchet, and just break it loose like that. And then what I'll do is I'll get in the car, turn the wheel the other way, and just come on the other side like I did on this side, break them all loose. And then I'll just take my little ratchet and spin them off real quick. So I'm gonna take those 4 bolts off now. Okay, so our bolts are out, our wheel speed sensor's out. The next fun thing to do is to actually get this wheel hub assembly out. So I like to use a hammer, just just go ahead and start tapping on this thing. And let's see, might have to get creative with the pry bar. I'm gonna check it out and get back to you in just a second. Alright, so this is gonna take a lot of hammering and a lot of using like a screwdriver and a pry bar. You see I bent it up there. The way I was really able to start to break this thing loose, you can see there's a space there now for sure, is I hit really hard on this side, and then what I did is I started using this kind of like a chisel. I'll find like a little space, like over here I have a smaller space, and I'll just get in there and start tapping it in and just kind of wedging out, and it'll eventually just come all the way out like that. It's really, it looks hard, but it's not that hard. Just if you do bend all that stuff up, just take a pair of pliers and bend it back. It doesn't really matter if you bend it too much. But just make sure you do that before you get the rotor put back on, because what can happen is you get to drive it and you hear a little and what it'll be is where you bend it somewhere and it's touching the rotor. So just as long as this thing isn't touching the rotor, you're good to go. We'll look at it here when I have it off. Alright, so I did like I showed you. I used the screwdriver and the pry bar as a chisel around here, and then it started to space out a little bit, and then I just came on this backside and hit it again really hard, and it just popped off and fell out, which is great. So now this guy's off. Also, what I found in mine was this guy was just sitting in there. So this is usually connected to the back of the wheel hub, so you just want to make sure you take this piece off before you try and put your new wheel hub assembly in, and then it should all just be clean. Should just have your axle sitting there, and we should be ready to put the new one in. So as far as going back in, when you put the wheel bearing bolts back through, just kind of make sure it's going back in straight. You don't want to get it cockeyed in there. So maybe just starting to tighten them down a little at a time. Just make sure it goes in straight. That's pretty much the only important thing going back on. So there you go. That's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.